Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded episode 17. Sorry about the delay. A few technical difficulties. Seems like we've got them rectified. We're gonna have just a little bit. We're gonna have a major show tonight. So really excited. Let's jump right in with the leadoff story. So the Bruins lost Game 6, 6-2 to the New York Islanders, losing the series 4-2. Why do you think Boston lost this series?
Well, there's this guy that stands behind the bench.
Cassidy?
He's Cassidy. Oh, it was totally him. It was totally him.
Agreed. Absolutely.
At least the cosmetics of it all. First of all, if Tuukka Rask is injured, torn labrum, why the hell
Why
are
was
you
he in
putting
there?
him in?
Absolutely. It made no sense to me. And then you saw Swayman come in Game 5. I mean, he let one goal go, but after that, you know what I mean? Give this kid a chance at this point.
Swayman was good. Swayman was good. You know, I mean, look, he went, 9-2 this year? He saved the Bruins bacon, basically.
Yeah.
And for him not to go in there, I mean, it was obvious there was something wrong with Tuukka Rask in Game 5. There was something wrong. You can tell he just wasn't reacting, and a torn labrum absolutely explains that. He had to be in severe pain. Bruce Cassidy should have gone with Swayman in that game.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%. 100%. And all this time, throughout this whole series, I was talking to you, I told you they needed to make some changes. They needed, like, the Coyle line sucked, and so did the Lazar line. And it wasn't really Coyle's fault, and it wasn't Lazar's fault. So you tell me where the problem was. Richie looked like he was wearing cement shoes. He was slow and useless this whole series. Useless. And they took out DeBrusk, but DeBrusk wasn't the problem. He had energy, at least. He just, was making mistakes because he was trying to do too much because, Richie was doing nothing. There was no forecheck.
Too many defensemen hurt. It killed him on that aspect of it. But especially if you don't have healthy defensemen and now you got an injured goalie. And we talked about the importance of a goalie in the playoffs. How do you, as a coach, just sit there and say, okay, best play for me in a must-win game is an injured goalie?
Yeah, no, you cannot play like that. I mean, and I'm not even saying it was the defense's fault. It's not even the defenseman. So this was squarely on at least 4 or 5 forwards that did nothing this series. They didn't come back. They're standing there watching it. They're watching the action. Corrali and Wagner, they were terrible. They were terrible. Yeah, okay, they can bring some energy. Yeah, and go into the penalty box, and then they score.
Yeah.
Really? This is what they're doing? Every time the Coyle line and Corrali line was out there, it seemed like they were in their own end the entire time. And you can't win like that. And then you'd get the Bergeron line go out there and they just total domination. And for what? For what?
Yeah, so when I started looking at some of the numbers, so in all 4 losses, they gave up 4+ goals. The Sorokin, 93, Sorokin, right?
Yeah.
93% saves. Tuukka Rask, 91.
Yeah, no, it's,
the only reason why they lost that series, Ron, is the goaltending. And Tuukka was hurt. He shouldn't have been in there because they beat him in power play percentage, penalty kills, shots on goal. And for some reason, they lost this series when they were up 2-1. They lost 3 straight games. Tuukka was hurt after Game 3.
Yes, absolutely. So there should have been something done right then and there. Cassidy didn't do it. How many times did I say, "Oh my God, I want Frederick and Studnicka in the lineup instead of Corrali and Wagner"? I said it a million times. Like, how do you not go to these 2 guys? These 2 guys have offensive talent and they can skate and they actually can play some defense.
So let me ask you this question. Should Cassidy be fired?
Yes, it was his fault.
Wow, you believe that strongly on it?
Absolutely. I was a Cassidy fan up until this series.
So I had heard
This
some
series,
stuff.
he didn't do anything.
There's a lot of Bruins fans that aren't too upset because they didn't feel like they would get by the Avs or they would get by Vegas anyway or Tampa Bay. So this loss wasn't as big a deal.
No, on paper, the Bruins have the better team in against the Islanders and Tampa Bay.
They should have
They
beat the
have the
Islanders.
better team.
Absolutely.
Like
So
I told you right from the beginning, the only team I feared was Colorado.
yeah,
That was the only team I feared
yeah.
because they couldn't match that speed. Islanders weren't that fast, but the Bruins were like in slow motion.
So
Those bottom two lines, the bottom six.
Yeah, what should the team do for next season then? What do you think? What's the moves?
Okay, so they have 8 free agents and a couple of restricted free agents. First of all, we'll start with the obvious. Tuukka Rask is a free agent. Save your $8 million a year. Let him walk. Go with Swayman and Halak.
Hold on, though. So I'm hearing he's willing to take a hometown discount. He wants to stay in Boston.
I don't care. And this is why you let Tuukka Rask walk. Because you have some free agents. You have David Krejci. You have Hall. You
got to re-sign Hall.
Yes, you have to re-sign Hall for sure. They also have Richie is a free agent. Corrali, Kasha, Miller, Tenorti, Kampfer. These guys are all free agents. And Frederick is a restricted free agent. So this is where you have to worry about the expansion draft. Well, looking at the expansion draft, they have Wagner and John Moore. Those are the 2 guys that they're going to have to put up to be taken. And Wagner is going to be the guy. He's going to be the one that goes. And you know what? That's okay. Because, frankly, he didn't do much of anything. So, good riddance. So, therefore, you will end up keeping Moore, and that might be a guy that you hold on to be like that 7th or 8th defenseman in case of injuries. So I have no problem with that. Yeah, I'm not a Moore fan, but, he's adequate, and he can move the puck, which Grizzly didn't exactly do a lot of in this series. So from there, you lose Wagner, and that's fine because that's not going to really matter much. So what I do want them to do is you got to sign Krejci, and that's going to be the more difficult thing. And it's not because he wants to play somewhere else. He basically told the press that he wanted to be in Boston and he can't see himself playing for anyone. He is closer to retiring than what we think. So he was wavering in his press conference on whether or not he was going to play. He's going to take a couple of weeks to decide. So that's a guy that maybe has 1 more year in him. Maybe. So, but you got to sign him and Hall. So that way your top 2 lines are intact for 1 more year. Because Smith will be a free agent, I believe, after next year. So you have the Bergeron and Krejci line intact. That's what you have to do. Your 3rd line, let Richie go. Let him go. Because he's too slow and he's just costing them. So you go with Coyle. He had a bad year. He had a bad playoffs. But you give him the benefit of the doubt. Let him come back next year. He's learned from it. He's a good player. And I know he's better than what he showed this year. And you have him centering Frederick and Studnicka. They played together earlier in the year, and they were fantastic together. I don't know why they didn't put them together here in the playoffs, because that's what should have happened. I think Coyle will be much better with 2 guys that are very capable and have energy in the offensive zone, and Frederick can play some defense too. So, and another year with Studnicka, I think he'll get there as well. 4th line, Lazar, Kuhlman, DeBrusk. goodbye, Corrali. You're a free agent. See ya. Because frankly, I don't really care for him. He was a good player. That year they went to the Stanley Cup and won. He was a good player. But now he's just a liability. Now it's just like he takes bad penalties and just doesn't get motivated. And when he does get motivated, he's retaliating and getting those dumb penalties. So
who should they look at possibly signing, or what position should they look at signing?
Defense. And I'll tell you why. Because Carlo, he also could retire. He is a restricted free agent.
He's the Anthony Davis of the Bruins.
Yes. Unfortunately, look, I love Carlo as a player. I think he's a hell of a player. He's going to be injured all the time. Every year, expect a concussion. He should retire if he's smart. Well, not that he's not smart. He just wants to play, but
yeah. But he needs to listen to his head and not his heart.
Exactly. And I'm afraid one day he's going to get hit and he's not going to ever recover from it. So there are 3 defensemen that I expect the Bruins to take a look at. Adam Larson, Tyson Barrie of the Edmonton Oilers, and Brandon Montour, which I think he would be that guy that they should go get. He's going to be all in that area of like $4 million a player. And I think one of those guys will be fantastic. Any one of them. And they're all right shooting defensemen. And I think the Bruins need to go after one of them. So that way they will have Grizzly with McAvoy, and they have to re-sign Riley. That's another thing they have to do. They have to re-sign Riley because he was fantastic. And it would be either Carlo or I'm saying Brandon Montour, because I think that's where they're going to go. And unfortunately, Carlo, he's just going to be hurt all the time.
Yeah. So before we wrap this up, just a quick message. I guess they've already announced that Tuukka Rask will miss the start of next season. So
yes.
From the standpoint of re-signing him, even if you did, you're basically Swayman's your starting goalie going into next season. Currently,
I say let him walk, because that's the money that you need to sign Hall and Krejci and Riley and all these other guys that are going to be part of this team.
But rumor has it Hall's girlfriend loves Boston, which is important.
He loves Boston.
Yeah,
so he wanted to come to Boston.
Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Let's move on to some more NHL talk. And I know this is going to pain you, but the New York Islanders are going to face the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay, how many games?
Maybe 5. Maybe. And I say this because, look, there was a lot of rebounds, if that Boston could have had, and they didn't capitalize on it. And Boston did the same thing as Pittsburgh did. So they failed to do what they needed to do.
Islanders have scored the most goals in the playoffs so far, averaging 3.58 goals a game. Tampa Bay's 5th best at giving up 2.36. So basically, you're saying the defense is going to prevail in that series, and Tampa Bay wins it.
I think the goaltender should be able to be better. He doesn't give up a lot of rebounds. Bruins had all kinds of rebounds they could have had, but nobody was in position. Nobody.
He has a functioning hip. So
that too.
So Tampa Bay, I got Tampa Bay in 6. So the biggest surprise, Montreal versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Neither one of these teams should be here right now. How does the Golden Knights 4 straight against the Avs?
That was amazing.
Impressive. Montreal, who's the lowest seed in the playoffs. Game 1's this Monday. Who wins it?
I've got to say it's going to be a sweep for Vegas. It's got to be.
I got Vegas in 5.
Because I'm looking at it like Montreal doesn't even belong in the playoffs, and yet they've managed to get by 2 of them and make the Final Four. So
when we talked earlier in the year about the NHL playoffs, and we talked about goaltending, 2.18 goals against, second in the playoffs, Montreal. They're stopping the puck. If you get a hot goaltender, that can be the key.
Exactly. But The problem right now facing Carey Price is the guy at the other end is Fleury.
Yeah, who's like one of the all-time
That
greats.
makes a difference.
Yeah.
That makes a hell of a difference, Hellebuck.
So let's move on to our new segment called the Triple Play. Excited about this. Triple Play. All right. So basically how this segment's going to work is I'm going to throw out 3 names. Basically, we've got to say who we would start, who we would bench, and who we would cut. So we're going to go, since we're in the basketball playoffs, NBA playoffs, we're going with the Brooklyn Nets big 3, Durant, Harden, and Irving. So who are you starting, who are you benching, and who are you cutting?
Okay, so it's not going to be a surprise who I'm cutting. Irving.
So I'm cutting Irving as well. I think we're in the same boat.
Yeah, so I mean, look, like we are very familiar with him. He cannot win by himself consistently. Just can't do it. He's proven that. He needs a bigger guy there. Like as best as Irving can do is be Scotty.
Yeah, the number 2.
Right. He can't be number 1. He can't be number 1.
Yeah,
it's
he
just
proved it in Boston. Yeah, he proved it in Boston.
He did. So that leaves the other 2.
Durant and Harden.
And I am going to start Harden because
okay,
because that guy is a triple-double guy. I mean,
yeah,
he can do that. Like he's carried. Well, look what he did. In Houston, he carried Houston game after game after game after game out there by himself. Nobody with him. No one. So there's no doubt in my mind. I'd start Harden. And believe me, I think Kevin Durant might have more talent.
Yeah.
But Harden has proven in the past that he can carry a team.
Yeah, I flip-flopped that. I started Durant. I just think from that scoring standpoint, he's such a lethal player on the court that every team has to defend him. Harden, to me, he can do a lot. He can score. He can dish. But if you needed just pure scoring and make sure that you're getting 30 to 40 points a game, I go Durant first. But that's our triple play. Hope you like that. Every week we'll throw in 3 new names. It could be any sport, and we'll see how we vote on them.
Yeah, get your opinions up there. We'll show them to everybody.
Absolutely.
So get those opinions, questions, comments. We'll take them.
Let's look at the NBA. I posted a Facebook question to the fans out there, and I got about a good amount of responses. And the question would be: should Brad Stevens look at making a trade for Damian Lillard? So Damian Lillard has discussed that he's not interested in possibly staying in Portland. How do you feel about this move?
Who do you want? I mean, really, because
Kemba Walker has stated that he no longer wants to be in Boston. Please leave.
That's good.
I am okay with that.
Oh God, yeah.
So the question would be: Are you willing to give up Jaylen Brown for Damian Lillard based on the age? So you're talking about a 5-year difference, roughly. But we've talked about in the past about having heart, leadership, veteran leadership. To me, you make that move because you need to get somebody with Jason Tatum that's going to teach him how to be a leader on a team.
Unfortunately, yeah, you do.
So if I'm Brad Stevens right now, I'm looking at Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, a first-round pick. I'm taking Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
I get rid of one problem. Granted, I might hurt myself on the back end because of the age, but
and then you sign somebody as a free agent.
Yeah. So if Brad Stevens is out there and he is listening, please pursue this. The fans want it. Sports Unfolded wants it. We need it.
Look, we both know damn well that it's going to be the same as it was.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change.
And again, he averaged 34 points and 10 assists a game.
Yeah.
So it's not, you're partnering him with Jason Tatum. That's 60 points right there a game.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we'll have to see how that turns out.
And I'll even go further. If Robert Williams goes up another step or two, I mean, I like having a big guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to be a Shaq,
Yeah.
but he's going to be effective. He's going to be a year older. He's going to get bigger.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to, you know, dominate the boards against some teams.
I
So
would hope. I
have
would hope
that
so.
triangle with him.
Let's talk about the NBA playoffs here. So Philly versus Atlanta currently 1-1 games tonight. Embiid averaging 35 and 11, 39 and 11. I apologize. Trae Young 28 and 10 assists. Of the two stars, which one do you think is going to be able to carry his team and get them over the hurdle here?
Well, I mean, I got a feeling this series is going to be home team right till the end.
Well,
I
Atlanta
think.
did split in Philly.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're 1-1 right now,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. That's right. Yeah, God, I mean, like they
I
do
don't think.
have an injury in Philadelphia, and you had mentioned this last
Yeah.
time.
And Embiid, which came back, and he's averaging almost 40 points a game. And if you look at this, he lost the MVP to Jokic. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. How do you stop a big man like that? You can't. So if I'm
Yeah, you might be
Atlanta
right.
right now, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
And Trae Young needs to average 35 plus if they're going to win this series.
Yeah, and we've seen how those one-horse teams have really folded.
Yeah, at some point you stop that top player, and then it's a different ball game. What about Milwaukee, Brooklyn?
Celtics.
Milwaukee, Brooklyn. Brooklyn's up 2-1. The Bucks
I'll tell
won
you,
last night, but what do you think?
the Bucks have to win Game 4. If they lose Game 4, the series is over.
So if I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan right now, I'm nervous. You won that game by 3 at home, being up 19 after 1.
Yeah.
And without them having James Harden, who's rumored to possibly be playing in Game 4.
Yeah.
I think the series is over. I'm disappointed that
Milwaukee. Hey, I said Brooklyn was going to go all the way.
Yeah, but I really felt this would go 7, and I don't. If it goes 6, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I got a feeling. Like I said, Milwaukee has to win Game 4, but I think Brooklyn wins the next 2 and closes it out.
Finish it out. Denver versus Phoenix. Phoenix is up 2-0 right now. Chris Paul on a tear. 19 points, 13 rebounds. Jokic MVP, 23 and 11. The next leading scorer for Denver, Porter at 13 points. Denver's not winning this series if he doesn't get some help.
Nope.
And
again, one-horse teams are folding.
And think about this. Booker, who's their best player on Phoenix right now, is only averaging 19 points. He's going to have a big game. Yeah. So, to me, Denver, this may be a sweep.
It could be. And I'd actually be surprised if it wasn't a sweep. I would, because I don't see them being able to handle Phoenix right now. Like, Phoenix is playing too well.
Yeah.
Phoenix is on a mission. This is their opportunity.
Absolutely. This is their best chance to get to the finals. Utah versus the Clippers. Clippers are down now 0-2 again. Utah looks very good. Donovan Mitchell, 41 points a game. Talk about coming back and being on its tear. If I'm a Clippers fan, what does it take to get this team to understand they got to win a game early? Like, what are they doing? Can they repeat what they did to Dallas? Is my question, I guess. You doubted Utah. And I said,
I did.
Utah's the best team in the West. They really are. They can shoot the lights out. And if you're getting 41 points from Mitchell, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
The Clippers are in trouble. They need to win Game 3 without a doubt. But I think you need to go 2-2 in this series. Otherwise, Utah wins this series.
Yeah, they have to win the next 2 games. I mean, if they lose one of those, it's over.
And you've got one of the best defensive players in the league in Kawhi Leonard, and Mitchell's going for 41.
Yeah, I know. That's bad.
That's scary. That's scary. Once again, if you're joining us, we are running a little late today on Sports Unfolded. We're on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We're on every Friday night at 6 p.m. normally on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Join us on social media on Facebook and Twitter at Sports Unfolded, and on Twitter at Broadcasting RI, Instagram Sports_Unfolded, and podcast on Spotify, Anchor, and Google. So if you look at, I'm really fired up with the basketball, the hockey, you're fired up. But this topic that we're going to cover right now has me more fired up than any topic I think we've discussed in our entire 4 months of this show. And that's the Major League Baseball is basically having a debate right now on foreign substance with the pitchers, and they're now going to start to try to handle it in a different way. Do you think the league is handling this properly?
Does Major League Baseball ever handle anything properly?
No, and that's my point. The league, when it benefits the league basically shuts their eyes and lets things happen. And then all of a sudden now because the pitching and the batting is so atrocious, you want to put this rule into effect and start looking at balls and substance and pitchers caps and taking caps. When it was okay to juice with steroids until you decided it wasn't. Right. And now you're doing the same thing with the pitchers.
Now let's be truthful here. They didn't care about the juicing until the federal government got involved.
Right. So, and now what's happening is their product isn't scoring runs. People are bored. They want to see home runs. They're not getting that. So, we've got to do something now. We've got to react to it. They should be ashamed of themselves. Manfred is one of the worst commissioners in any major sport. I am disgusted with this. I am disgusted because they're putting these pitches. And again, as a Yankee fan, I had to watch Cole at a press conference. He doesn't even know what to say because he knows, basically, we all know they were doing it. It's been done for years and years. We're talking decades of this.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you want to basically take it away, but you're not taking away batting gloves from batters, pine tar on the bats for batters that helps them with grip. But now the pitchers can't do it because it's hurting your product from a home run standpoint. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
I'm disgusted with it.
It's a mess. It's a mess. And, it's like you can't justify one side and not justify the other side. You just can't do it. You have to look, if there's rules out there, enforce it. If those are the rules, then enforce it.
And we had one of these best debates about Barry Bonds and the steroids and should he be in the Hall of Fame? So what are you saying now? All these pitchers shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame either, right? But there are pitchers in the Hall of Fame that have gotten busted for tampering with baseballs, right? But that's not. They're still in the Hall of Fame. So how is one better than or worse than the other? I don't understand.
Well, because it's injecting an enhancer.
You're enhancing the
I
ball.
Understand that.
They said the spin rate,
but
the movement.
It's not like. Okay, it's not like putting pine tar on a bat like George Brett did and he got caught. Remember that? That's what it's like. So you're comparing those two things. You can't compare, adding steroids so your injuries get healed faster.
If it gives you a competitive edge, then it's cheating.
Yes, it is.
So it's the same as the no hit rule. Because it's 7 innings didn't count. Baseball is a joke right now. They wonder why they're losing viewerships. They wonder why the fans aren't interested, why they can't because they're a joke. Because they can't get anything right. They've made mistake after mistake after mistake, and here comes another one.
Oh, and then when you suspend a pitcher, you're suspending him for like 5-6 days. Yeah.
And they did this.
That's their rotation, 5 or 6 days.
And then they literally did this with the steroids before they started suspending like AAA players first and all that. They're doing the same thing now. They're suspending minor league pitchers. Like, what are you doing? I don't get it. I just let's move on because I'm just it's atrocious baseball. But we're going to talk some more baseball. What are your early surprises for 2021 so far this season?
Oh my Lord, the early surprises. So
I got a few.
I've got 4 of them in the American League.
Okay.
And I have 2 in the National League. So I'll start National League.
All right, let's do it.
My surprise in the National League, the Giants for being in first place.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Because
How's
I
that
thought
even
it was going to
possible?
go.
Never
I
saw
thought
that.
for sure it'd be the Dodgers,
Yep.
Padres, Giants.
Absolutely. 100%. You're
And
correct.
here we are, Giants, like lighting it up. And Kevin Gausman, 7-0, 1.27.
Phenomenal.
1.27.
Well, that's going to change. No pie and tar.
This is true. This is true. Brandon Crawford on the other side with 14 home runs and 41 RBI. That's pretty good numbers for a shortstop.
Very good.
So that's
about-
the good side of the surprise.
How about the Cubs? First place over St. Louis. St. Louis third currently in the division.
Yeah, that's somewhat of a surprise, but
That
I
one I
think
didn't
they'll
see.
snap out of that.
Because a lot of teams said that the Cubs were going to be, a lot of people said the Cubs were going to be sellers this year. Because they've got some players coming up.
Well, I thought like 4 of the teams in that division were going to be sellers.
So
I thought the Cardinals would win it, but the rest of the teams would be bad.
yeah.
So yeah, the Cubs, I can see that. But my biggest surprise,
Yeah,
in the National League, Washington in last place. Like, and to top it all off,
the Mets are in first. The Mets are in first.
Scherzer is 2.22. He's 5-4. 5-4. They're not scoring runs.
There's been no hitting in baseball this year, so you
Not
see the
scoring
teams that are
runs at
doing
all.
well. The teams with the hot pitches are doing much better. When the team with the bats, they're just not producing the runs.
They are 8 games under 500. That is shocking.
Yeah, and I know we thought the Mets would be pretty good, but not first place good.
I actually had them in first.
Okay.
And I had Washington second.
What about my down surprise would be the New York Yankees in third in the AL East. Tampa Bay leading the division.
Yeah, that's a pretty good surprise. I didn't even put the Yankees on there, to be honest with you, as a surprise being in third.
Third place. That team had too much talent not to be a first place team.
I still think they can.
They're disappointing.
They can take that.
I don't know. Oakland's still first in the West.
That is my surprise in the West. To go along with the Angels, but in reverse.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bassett, 6-2 as a starter in Oakland. Petit, Yasmero Petit, 7-0 with 1 save coming out of the bullpen. 7-0.
Not bad.
That's amazing at this point. He's one of the league leaders.
That's crazy. Insane. What about DeGrom at a .062 ERA? Teams are batting 128 against them.
It's hard to believe the Red Sox beat him.
128. Is that insane?
That is craziness.
Like, I mean,
that is back in like the 30s era.
Unreal. Ohtani, 17 home runs, second in Major League Baseball in home runs. What about?
Yeah, he's second in home runs, and everybody else in the league is third with 14.
So what about the homegrown here? Devers leading the league in RBIs, right?
He's having a good year.
So, I mean, a lot of surprises. Anything you're looking forward to going forward in the season? Anything you'd like to see?
Well, after my morning of the Bruins, I'll take like a couple of days off from sports, and once I get back into it, then I'll know more what's going on around the league as well for baseball.
Yeah, I'd like to see how I'd like to see how this affects the hitting now with the pitching. I want to see if the batting average goes up, and if it does, then it was basically because of what the pitchers were doing. All right, great conversation there. Let's talk some NFL. Julio Jones has been traded to the Tennessee Titans for a second-round draft pick in 2022 and a fourth-rounder in 2023. Where does this put the Tennessee Titans in the AFC? I put them as possibly the fifth best, maybe sixth best team. Maybe not even winning the division. It's all going to be based on Carson Wentz with the Colts. If Carson Wentz has the MVP type season with the Colts, I think they're a better team, even with Julio Jones in Tennessee. Still got to count KC, Kansas City, best team in the AFC probably. Although we had a debate last week about 20-0. Kyle Long already probably out for the season. First injury. Here we go.
There we go.
Buffalo. Probably better than Tennessee. Baltimore. Cleveland. Right? So as much as I think this was a good pickup.
Patriots.
Possibly. I don't. Our receiving core is still not very good. Let's be honest. I mean, there's still, if Aguilar's your number one receiver, I'm not sold on him being the number one receiver. I mean, defensively, tight ends, offensive line were probably better than Tennessee. Receiving wise, Tennessee has the edge. And we're still questioning where the quarterback's going to be for New England. So we have to figure that out. Although Cam Newton did come up with a nickname for Mac Jones. Not sure you heard this. A little trivia for you. Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese, baby.
Not Big Mac?
Not Big Mac. Mac and cheese. We all love it. It's cheesy.
Terrible.
That was horrible. That was a dad joke.
Without Julio Jones coming here, then we can dump Cam Newton because he's going to lose his job anyway.
I was looking at this afterwards. Once the signing happened, once this happened, though, I looked at it. Julio Jones probably wasn't going to be a good fit in New England, based on one thing. I need the ball 10 times thrown to me. New England doesn't do that. New England, you may get 10 looks one game and 2 on the next. That's just how they spread the offense out. They look at matchups. They look at different areas. I'm not quite sure he would have fit. Would it have been nice to have? Absolutely, because that gives us more legitimacy to be a contender for the Super Bowl. But I think he may not have done what
you're saying they're illegitimate?
Illegitimate, yes. He would have been our illegitimate child, yes. Ron, what time is it, baby?
Pick and
roll, baby. Little Haven Shine crossover. We talked about it. We're going to do so Haven Shine. If you haven't seen it, a lot of movie reviews, right? Games, movies. So we're going to talk about ranking these 6 baseball movies all time for us. There may be some better movies out there. These are the 6 we chose currently. So Bull Durham, League of Their Own, Field of Dreams, The Natural, Major League, and For the Love of the Game. I went first last week, so you're up first, my friend.
Just so everybody knows, there's no Sandlot in there.
No Sandlot. We thought about it. Angels in the outfield, Rick. Yes, without a doubt. Right? We could have thrown that in there. Sandlot. How old are you, Rick?
That's fine. That's fine.
Can you pick another Disney movie? Ron, you're up, buddy. What do you got? Number 6.
All right. Number 6, I have, and this is going to be probably a shock to everybody, Field of Dreams. Look, I've seen this movie 3 times, hoping that it got better. It's so boring. It's terrible.
It's baseball. Mr. 3000.
It's terrible. I don't care.
Mr. 3000, Rick chimed in with.
Man. That I would have said ahead of Field of Dreams as well.
Yeah.
I really didn't like a movie. I'm sorry. I didn't like it.
All right.
I thought it was boring. Boring. It was like watching a Kansas City Milwaukee Brewer game.
Maria, thank you.
See that. Nobody cares.
Thank you. Angels in the outfield. Maria, that's 2 for Angels in the outfield. We blew this one already.
Bad News Bears. How can you not have that in there?
I think we might have to change this whole thing, this whole segment.
So,
what do you got number 5?
Right. So number 5, I have Bull Durham. Again.
Bro, what are you doing?
Again.
Oh,
I didn't really care for it. It was okay. It was good.
What? Oh, my goodness. All right, go ahead.
Bad News Bears would have been ahead of this one, too.
Space Jam's not a baseball movie. Rick, Space Jam's not a baseball movie.
League of Their Own
I can't
is number 4.
I'm done with you.
And I'll tell you why.
Wait, before you go on any further, is the movie at number 1 have a hockey player in it, and that's why you picked that number 1? Because that seems to be every time we do this.
No.
Okay.
I'll just say I don't like 4, 5, and 6. I don't like them.
Okay, I see that. Go ahead. What do you got at 3?
At number 3, I have The Natural. Great movie. Robert Redford.
Yep.
You know, drama, ball hitting the lights. Ooh.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I mean, it was good. It was a great movie, a great baseball movie. You know, but I have Major League number 2,
Major League.
and it like Major League. I've watched. I don't even know how many times. A ton.
Yep.
Perfect cast.
It
Perfect
was.
cast.
Charlie Sheen, Tom
Charlie
Berenger.
Sheen was phenomenal. Tom Berenger.
He was great in that movie. Yep.
And of course, Wesley Snipes.
Snipes, yes.
Like Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes, baby.
Come on, he showed his comedic side. There was a lot to love about this movie. And everybody knows the manager. You know, it's like, you know, that guy plays character roles in so many movies. You know, he was fantastic as the manager.
Yeah.
And I got to say, it was close to my number 1 for love of the game. I absolutely love that movie. Love it. Love it.
Benchwarmers is in there. Benchwarmers. What a great movie that was. Scorsese, you're not, Ron. Oh boy, Dan taking some shots at Ron today.
Yeah, I don't.
He didn't even want you on the pick. He said, "Get you off the pick again."
I'm not a director, but I know a good movie if I see it.
All right, underrated Benchwarmers. Yes, I don't know about that underrated. That was all right. I'm gonna go number 6. I had For the Love of the Game. And
you're so sadly mistaken.
So for all the reasons you said, I thought it's a boring movie. At number 5, I had The Natural with Robert Redford. I mean, the iconic scene with hitting the lights, but other than that, I mean, it's a good movie. Major League, number 4, Major League.
Oh, come on. There's no way.
Major League?
No way.
Which again, I think again, it's one of those movies you can watch over and over again, and it's from a comedic standpoint, great to watch, great cast. But when we're talking about baseball, Field of Dreams, I had it number 3. Just the whole storyline, if you build it, they will come. How that whole story transformed, brought old time baseball back in that tradition of baseball.
Don't say that in Florida for the Marlins. They built it. Nobody came.
Yeah, well,
nobody's still going.
Exactly. Tampa as well. Yeah, Tampa as well. Who puts a dome in Tampa Bay? I don't. Whatever. In 1988 movie Bull Durham at number 2. Costner, Susan Sarandon, Tim Robbins. That whole aspect, the young pitcher, the old catcher, that whole love triangle. You know, just how he tried to make it. Fever Pitch, number 1. What is going on with our fans tonight? Fever Pitch. Oh boy,
no, that's a good movie. That's really good. No, that's a good one.
Yeah,
like I wouldn't have chosen like 3 of these movies.
Yeah, I think Rick put some good ones in there. We should have put Bad News Bears in there for sure.
Bad News Bears, I probably would have made number 1.
Angels in the Outfield. We had 2 votes for that as well. League of Their Own, I had at number 1. Because you know why, Ron? You know why? Because there's no crying in baseball. That line will be infamous now forever. There's no crying in anything. There's no crying in Sports Unfolded. There's no crying in anything. When you were having technical difficulties, you know what? There's no crying. We don't cry. We just go out and we
threw a whole bunch of stuff.
You did, and you just smacked some stuff around. But think about that cast too: Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell. Movie made $132 million back in 1992. Yeah. So again, with today's rates, obviously,
and based on a true story too.
Yeah. Yep. So I love that movie. I could watch that movie over and over again. Hardball with Keanu Reeves, The Rookie. Wow. We got Rick. Rick's got some baseball movies in him. Moneyball, great movie. We almost threw that in there. Once again, if you're joining us, we are live on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We're on every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Running a little bit late due to technical difficulties tonight. Join us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, at Sports Unfolded, and at Broadcasting RI. On Instagram at Sports_Unfolded, and our podcast at Spotify, Anchor, and Google. So great conversation around that pick and roll. Appreciate all the fans out there. Appreciate your input. Next time, we'll make sure we're going to tell you what next week's pick and roll is going to be. Send us some messages. Let us know who you think we should put in the next week's pick and roll. But we're going to go off to our face-off. And our face-off this week, we're going to do it a little different, Ron, going forward.
I don't even know what it is.
We're going to go 2 minutes, and we're just going to argue this for 2 minutes, and we're going to let the fans decide who won this face-off. And basically, our face-off this week is Deshaun Watson wants to go to Denver. Should the Denver Broncos trade for him? And I'm going to put the clock on now, and we can go.
Well, wait. Why don't we have the fans decide who's for what?
Who's for? Who's for it? Who's against it? Good point. Who
Who's
should be
for him going?
Dan, Maria, Rick, any of our live viewers out there, who should be voting for Deshaun Watson going to Denver?
We got time. We're going to wait for you guys to answer.
I mean, they were sprouting out the baseball movies. Ron first. I think that means four. I think you're four.
So I'm going to be for him getting traded.
For him getting traded. Ron,
so
for him
Denver
getting traded.
To.
That's two.
Okay.
So Denver wants him. You ready? I'll let you start it off. I'm against. Go.
Okay. So first of all, Deshaun Watson is what? Top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the league? What do they got now? Nothing. They have a quarterback that's going to bring them to last place. So if you're going to do anything in this league, you have to have and to me, this is a no-brainer. No matter what the problems he has off the field, he's going to be fine. He's not going to miss time.
Why would a team invest money in him and not even guarantee that that he's going to play this year?
Oh, he's going to play.
I mean, it makes no sense. So you're guaranteeing that he's going to play this season?
He's going to play. He's going to play.
Based on what?
Based on it'll get dragged out in court, and he'll be playing this year, and it won't happen until at the end of the season.
From a media standpoint, they cannot put his face on the field until this thing's settled. So until it's settled, which
if they're winning, it's going to drag out. The fans don't care. They don't care.
They will get such backlash. Think about Michael Vick back with the dog incident and how Atlanta treated
people
him.
like animals.
People don't like women. Is this where we're going? Ron?
Nope, they don't. They don't like people. They don't care.
We are getting shut down.
No, I'm not saying me. I'm saying fans in general. They are more sensitive to an animal than they are to a person. So the fans, if they're winning, they don't care. They like to win, and they at all costs. It doesn't matter. That's why these players get 2, 3, 4 chances all the time.
So you can't even say that. You think that he's a legitimate reason that Denver can win? I mean, Denver's got an okay team. He's still going to be in the AFC West going against Kansas City, the LA Chargers, right? So 2 very good teams, 1 elite team. They might be 3rd in the division.
How many wins did they get last year?
6, maybe 5, 6.
Okay, so having Deshaun Watson doesn't double that.
No,
it doesn't double that.
You think they're going to get 12 wins? Not 12 wins.
He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Not in that division.
Absolutely.
In the Los Angeles, Vegas. All right, that was good. That was good. Fans out there, who won that debate? I don't know, Ron. I think I won that for sure.
You didn't win that because we all know that the fans don't care about what he's done off the field. They don't care. They want to see him win football games.
Would you take him in New England?
Yes.
I wouldn't. Thank you, Rick.
Why?
I just don't think that from a media standpoint, it's not a good look for a team. You're basically condoning his behavior and telling it's acceptable.
You're also asking if
1-1. Ron won it. We're tied. Anybody out there want to break that tie? Let us know. Chime in.
You're also considering the New England Patriots had a murderer on their team. So
well, you already said Ron, Dan. You can't vote for him twice.
Yeah, that's another vote, though.
All right, let's go on to our Ron. Ron, you won this one. 2-1.
I have to
Wow.
work twice as hard because of your fans. They're all voting for me.
Yeah. I can't even get love from my fans. Let's go on to our predictions. So last week, again, clean sweep for Eric.
Yep.
2-0. Ron plays hardball when he's against. Yes, there's a baseball reference. Very good, Rick. I like that.
Yeah, that is good.
So on 6/13, Blue Jays at the Red Sox.
Red Sox.
Agreed.
It's not,
6/13, Suns at Nuggets, Game 4.
Phoenix. Yeah, you want to pick Phoenix.
I do. I'm gonna. So far, we're little WNBA. We're gonna break out here. Seattle Storm at the Connecticut Sun on 6/13. Both of these.
I might actually watch this game.
Both these teams currently the top two records in the WNBA.
I'm going Seattle Storm.
Oh, all right. I'm going Sun, hometown. I'm from Connecticut now. I love Connecticut, so I'm going Suns.
That's why I went with Seattle.
No, I love it. So we have one difference, so I could go 1-0 next week. I love it.
Could, but you're not going to.
Suns. Look at Suns. Dan even agrees. Connecticut Sun. Next, if you're joining us next week, we're going to be discussing the NBA and NHL playoffs as they continue. Our pick and roll next week. Top 5 wide receiver duos currently in the NFL. So we're going to pick 5 duo wide receivers and see which one.
Wait, is this all time or currently playing?
Current.
Oh, okay.
This year. All right. If you're joining us, once again, we're on Rhode Island Broadcasting. We're on every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter. On Twitter at Broadcasting RI. On Instagram at Sports_Unfolded. And podcasts on Spotify, Anchor, and Google. If you haven't watched our show before, basically how we close our show out is we have a final thought. Our final thought could be about anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be sports related. But I went first last week, Ron, so you're up first this week.
Oh, I get to go first?
First, sir.
All right. So my final thought goes out to all those Bruin fans that are in mourning with me. This should have been our year because we clearly were supposed to have the better team. But there's one thing that some people forgot is you actually have to go and actually play in order for you to win.
Crazy thought.
So instead of saying, hey, Ralph will do it, when there's no Ralph on your team, except for that big Ralph that they spewed all over the ice in their lackadaisical and heartless play, especially in that last 10 minutes of that game, where I saw a lot of standing around and watching while the Islanders have the puck in the corner. Well, it's time to clear out some of that dead weight, get rid of them, and looking forward to hockey next year. That's it.
So I did want to just, and I forgot to mention this earlier with the Bruins. One of the things we criticized the Boston Celtics was heart. And it was disappointing to see the Bruins had that same mentality in their loss. So
yeah, it was. It was despicable because I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, unbelievable. My final thought is on the Joker. Jokic won the MVP. He is the lowest draft pick to ever win an MVP. He was the 41st pick overall. Steve Nash and Giannis Antetokounmpo was drafted 15th. They were the leaders at 15 as the lowest. So if you think about 26 picks later, when he got drafted on draft night, it was during a Taco Bell commercial. He wasn't even on the screen. It was a Taco Bell commercial. Because at that point, they just assumed that the second round picks, nobody really cares about them. If you think about what this shows about hard work, determination, playing as a team, continuing to work your craft. If this is not an example for young athletes out there to say, look, if you work at something hard enough, regardless of where you're drafted or where you're picked, if you put the heart, the effort in, you can be an MVP. It doesn't matter if you're a number one pick. He was 41st and is now the MVP of the National Basketball League. That is pretty impressive. He should be proud of that. Fans out there should be proud of that. It just goes to show that hard work does pay off. I was ecstatic to see that.
Hey, another point. Patrice Bergeron nominated for a Selke Award for the 10th time. He was a bright spot in the series against the Islanders.
Yeah, and a lot of their stars stepped up. But to your point, I just think it was disappointing to go out Game 6 like that. Yep. Before we wrap it up, Ron, I do want to wish you a very happy birthday. Sports Unfolded. Appreciate you joining us tonight. I know I'm sure you're going to be partying hard soon. And thank you for working out. Thank you for those. That's probably why we had all those technical difficulties earlier. Ron was a little partying it up already.
Yeah, I knocked over the laptop, and it was a pain.
It got ugly. But thank you again. Great show. Appreciate the time, Ron. To all the fans that have tuned in, to all the fans that are out there watching us live, we appreciate you tonight. And you guys out there have a great night. Take care.
Take care, everybody.